Welcome back, you lovely lot. This is our third video of 3 for our Saturday the 9th of December sale here at Manor Park Classics. This one's motorbikes, so make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell, and Jimmy is here to tell us all about not only the 28 lots we've got, but also this. You can win this.
Yes, we're going to give this one away after the auction. As you know, the auction is on Saturday. So if you've entered a vehicle in with us, or if you buy anything from us, you've automatically been entered.
That's it.
And someone's going to win this for Christmas. How cool is that?
Simple as that. So the odds are very much in your favour. So we've got basically 90 cars, 28 bikes. So you've got a 1 in 118 chance on that side,
That's
and therefore a 1 in 118 side on the buyer's side.
Yeah.
So the odds are very much in your favour. One of you is going into a raffle. We're going to pull it out. You're going to win this bike. So if you don't fancy Lady Luck giving you a Harley for Christmas, here are 28 bikes you can buy.
Let's go.
So Jimmy, this is a very new bike. We like classic bikes here at Manor Park Classic. This is almost new.
It's a 2017, but there's a reason. This bike's only done 51 hours.
Wow.
So, you know, it doesn't still need breaking in.
Yeah.
But it's there or thereabouts.
So tell me why this is such a nice crosser then. So 450F, this one, 51 hours as you say. Motor runs beautifully. The plastics are really nice.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not had many hours, and obviously they've not fallen off.
It looks like no one's fallen off, which is superb, yeah. Local lad that's brought it in. Still got the original plastics and what have you on there. It's even still got the original tyres, in fact. And 450cc, so a bit of a beastie this one, not for the faint-hearted.
It's a big old bike, that one, isn't it, as well? And that is only going to be, what, 2 to 2.5 grand?
Yeah, 2 to 2.5 grand. It's a lot of bike. If you're into motocross, someone could get a bargain with this one.
Yeah, because what would that have been new? And that's only 6 years ago, isn't it?
Well, you're looking at another 4,000 to 5,000 on top of that.
Yeah.
When it was new.
Utter bargain. A very nice looking bike as well. So 51 hours, as new, into the main sale room and into another crosser, I think, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got another beautiful example here. So this one is a 2020 chassis.
Yeah.
Which was bought from Honda.
Yeah.
It then came just as a rolling chassis, and the engine, as you probably know, that everyone wants is the 1989 CR500F engine,
yeah,
which is the 500cc V2 stroke motor. So this one's actually got that motor in it. So it's a 2020 bike with a 1989 sought after motor.
This is a proper desirable Frankenstein, isn't it, really? This is a mad creation of genius.
It is a very desirable Frankenstein. And on this bike as well, they've converted it to a twin exit pipe. So you've got twin exhaust on the back, which looks really cool.
Does this sound as good as I'd imagine it would sound?
It does. It sounds like a beast. It's been restored, it's been built,
yeah,
and then it's not being used. So it's pretty much a new bike.
And is this a conversion that you would see very often, or is this really quite special?
It's special, and it's been done and partly built by Stan Stevens and tuned.
Right.
Who you know Stan Stevens is. So it's not a garage build.
Yeah.
There's a no expense spared, and it's a bit of a beast. It's a 500cc again. Like the last bike, not for the faint-hearted. But to be honest, is someone going to use this? Maybe. I see it going into a collection, but we'll see what happens on the day.
Because it is immaculate, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean,
it's
for all intents and purposes, it's a new bike. You know, it's new parts, and it's not been used.
So there you go. That's 6.5 to 7.5 grand would take you that home, wouldn't it?
Yep.
What a lovely thing. Then moving on to this, I have to say, just before we start, the colour and the paint on this. Who has painted this bike?
Yeah, it's
because
fabulous.
It is insane, the colour. 77 Kawasaki Z1000A1.
Yeah.
I mean, the restoration is next level, isn't it? And particularly the paintwork. I'm giving the paint a 10. I never give any paint a 10.
That's really is a 10. The bikes from that livery, though, from the 70s, from that era, the liveries are all very, very similar to this, just like the H2C and the HC and the GT750. A lot of flake work.
Yeah, it's very deep metal flake, isn't it?
Absolutely beautiful, yeah. I mean, for some reason, this one's ended up with some 900 badges on there. I believe that the badges that were on it were a little bit tatty, the 1,000 badges, and the owner had some fresh 900 ones, so he stuck those on there. But it comes with a set of standard pipes. These are aftermarket pipes.
But they suit it, don't they? They don't spoil it for me.
No, not at all. It sounds tremendous. The gentleman who bought this is local, and he bought it to go in his collection. It's been sat in his collection for quite a few years now. It hasn't turned a cog, and it's just time to move it on and change things up a little bit.
So again, you could put it in your collection, or again, not a massive recommissioning task, I wouldn't imagine, to get this back on the road.
No, nothing. It runs. So you don't need to do anything. You can buy this, and then you can use it to your heart's content. You can stick it in your collection, take it out on the road and use it. It's up to you. And also, it's MOT and tax exempt.
Of course it is, yeah, because it's that old. And 10 to 12 grand would take you that home.
Yeah, exactly.
Just treat it as a piece of art or ride it.
Superb, yeah, that's what to do.
I love that. Moving on to this, the 77 Yamaha XS400.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are really popular because I don't know if you've heard, but they do a Yamaha RD 400 with the coffin tank on it, and that's what the two-stroke lovers really like. However, this is a four-stroke going version of it, so you can get to own pretty much the similar vehicle that handles and acts the same, but without all the upkeep of a two-stroke.
It's a bit more civilised, a bit more refined, as you said, a little bit less work to keep on top of it.
Yeah, well,
love these early alloys as well, they're amazing.
Yeah, they're awesome. This bike has had full restoration and was stored in a museum for quite a few years until the current owner bought it. And it's been in his collection. He now wants to move it on. It's just been serviced. This bike actually fires up on about half compression.
Does it?
It just fires straight away. Yeah, it's beautiful. The timing and everything on it's perfect.
I think we should say about the condition of that one is it's truly remarkable. I mean, that is show quality bike, isn't it?
If you were to pay someone to restore your bike when you got it back, that's what you'd want it to be like. Yeah. That's the level of restoration you'd want, isn't it?
But even the refurb on the alloys as well, the fact that you've got the polished rim and the sandcast bits looking absolutely beautiful. It's been done so sympathetically, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful, yeah.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, there's a couple of other bikes that we'll come on to soon from the same vendor, and they're equally as beautiful.
You are finding really nice consignments. That's 4 to 5 grand would buy you that. I don't think you could restore it for that, could you, looking at the quality of the work?
Not a chance, no.
No. But we're finding that with a lot of the consignments we've got. So people who have done really nice work to a very high standard, but we're selling these at very realistic reserves, very realistic estimates. So you get a bargain, don't you?
Yeah, you do get a bargain. A lot of people now are doing a lot less restorations and letting other people do the work for them. And that just seems to be the way that it's going. But obviously a Japanese market as well. So effectively, you're not spending any money on it. You're just moving it into a movable commodity that you can take back out when you finish enjoying it.
Much more fun than a stock or a share, isn't it? You can sit there and look at it all the time.
Yeah, and it'll appreciate it a bit
better. It really will.
Stock or share as well.
Right, 2006 Suzuki. This is a very pretty bike. JS1000E, fully restored.
Yep.
It's done 61,000 miles, but restored, obviously.
Yes.
Talk to me about the history of this bike, because to me this is a very pretty looking bike, and obviously very retro styling and seat upholstery, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, in the late 70s, these were one of the bikes to have, especially with DOHC motors. It's a stunning piece of kit. Just looking at it, it looks like it's going fast even when it's static. And if you look at now, a lot of the Suzukis and Yamahas that are being released, they're doing like a super sport almost genre of bikes. Kawasaki have now done it with their new Z900, which looks very much like that one. And a lot of the modern designs were actually taken from bikes like these.
But this is, I mean, obviously a real homage to an older bike, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, the restoration on it is perfect as well. That's not actually decal, it's paint as well. So it's been painted to a really high standard. Another example of someone who's gone all out and wanted something which is outstanding.
Because we seem to find, I don't know where you're getting these bikes consigned from, but they seem to be anally retentive restorers.
Yeah.
The bikes are particularly pleasant in terms of the way they've been done and to the standard that they've been done to. I mean, if we were getting cars in of this quality, they would be just obscene amounts of money just because these are show quality, aren't they? They need nothing.
Yeah,
no
the show
questions.
quality, but that's what we're looking for at the minute. You know, we're raising the bar in terms of the stock that we're getting in.
Yeah.
And this is where we want to be going forward. You know, it's always good to have your fixer-uppers and your bitsers and stuff in.
Yeah.
People love, especially to tinker over the winter.
Especially over winter.
But stuff like this, you know, this is where we're going. This is where the money is. And it's good because it's looking after the customers, because when they buy something, they're not, like I said on last bike, they're not necessarily spending money.
No.
They're moving it into something and they're not going to lose money on it. They can sell it when they've finished enjoying it and they can get the money back at least.
But I would say, very fair to say, the last 4 bikes we've looked at, collect quality bikes, aren't they? All of those.
Yeah, 100%.
Ones to tuck away, ones to enjoy, ones to appreciate, ones to invest in, that need nothing. That's what we like. So 1996 Yamaha XJ550.
Yeah.
Sicker.
And you could probably repeat everything you said about the last couple of bikes on this one, couldn't you?
Just talk me through the build. So this has had no expense spared restoration once again.
100%, yeah. So this has come from the same gentleman that put the XS400 in. And again, it's come from a museum down south. So it's been fully restored.
Yeah.
Put in a museum. The museum likes to change the stock, obviously, from time to time. And this gentleman's bought it. He's loved it and had it in his collection for a little while. And he's just looking to change things up. Before the bike's come in, though, he's put a brand new battery on it.
Yeah.
He's detailed it. He serviced it. And again, this just starts on the button.
So 5,000 miles since its restoration.
Yeah.
Obviously, as new or better than new, really, because it's just stunning all around. And you could buy that between £4,500 and £5,000.
Yes.
And even if you never ride it again, if you stuck it in the corner of your office, your man cave, your she shed, your bar, whatever it is, what a thing.
Yeah, it is.
What a beautiful bike that is.
Yeah, yeah. I love the transition to electronic engine ignition as well on this. There's no kickstart or anything on it. Yamaha 550, not massively uncommon bike. However, it's an original Seika and it's in the Seika livery, so it does make it a little bit more special and a little bit rarer.
Very beautiful. Moving on to this, which is truly iconic, I think. 2006 Kawasaki ZX1200R. What a colour, and again, immaculate paintwork on this.
And what a pleasure to ride. Of all the bikes in the sale, this was the nicest one.
Was it really?
Yeah.
So what is it about this model? As a bike novice then, what is it about this particular model that makes it such a nice bike to ride?
It's, I would personally say the smoothness, the seating position, and the low integral torque that you get from the motor. It's just really powerful. You don't need to mess about with gears. You can come in and out of bends in third gear and you don't need to mess. This one's been fitted with a really nice steering damper as well, so you don't get any play from the front of the bike, which you definitely need on something like this, with it being a 1200cc bike. But I mean, all in, it's just a great setup. It's got good tyres. It's got a really nice aftermarket X-pipe exhaust on there, which sounds superb.
It's got the drop guards and things. It's got some tasteful mods, hasn't it? Things that kind of make it a little bit easier to live with. And
yeah, of course, you get radiator guard on there, and just a few other bits and pieces. I mean, it's more or less a standard bike. One thing that the gentleman has put on there as well, which you definitely want this time of year, is a nice set of Oxford heated grips. And they work pretty quickly. I think your hands are cooking after about 30 seconds.
This is too nice to take out in the salt though, isn't it? Just maybe on a fresh, crisp day, because that's immaculate. The paint is like new. Yeah,
you wouldn't want to, and to be honest, that's quite a powerful bike. I wouldn't fancy taking it out.
Maybe on a nice dry day.
Yeah, save it for the spring.
Yeah, 5.5, 6 would buy that, and it's beautiful, very, very pretty. Moving on to this.
Yes, so one of my favourite bikes in the sale, this one, and actually, the baby brother version was the 175 and was the first bike that my father actually took me out on.
Was it really?
Back on, yeah.
And this is a 74, so 50 years old next year.
Yeah, I mean, just Elliot can show you there. Just look at the detail and the quality on that paintwork. It's absolutely superb. Again, this has come from the same gent as the Seika and the XS400. Been museumed, been in a collection, full restoration, brand new battery, starts on pretty much half compression. There's nothing you need to do with this. Just buy it and just enjoy it, and then take your money back out of it.
And look at it, That's the thing, isn't it? If you're buying them restored like this, and someone else has taken the hit, it literally is just a lovely place to park your money, isn't it?
Exactly.
You can either have it in the bank, you can have it in stocks and shares. It's not going to make a huge amount of money there.
Yeah.
And looking at a bank statement is not as much fun as looking at or riding that.
It's nice to see something physical sometimes.
I think so. And also, you know, fluctuations in markets, fluctuations in interest rates, a bike is always a bike, isn't it?
100%.
And it doesn't take any room in your house.
No, minimum room. It doesn't cost you anything.
And it smells amazing as well.
Yeah.
Bike for the smell.
Yeah, well, it's a two-stroke, so it'll just smell nice.
And that would be, we say 4.5 to 5 for that. So a lot of really nice price range stuff, not ridiculous amounts of money. If you're looking to get into bikes for the first time, a lot of what we've looked at here is a nice place to start. It's not massive amounts of cash to tie up, is it?
No, and it's also risk-free as well, isn't it? It's risk-adverse, because if you buy something that's worth 20 grand now, and you know what the current situation's like in this country with stocks and shares and everything, the chance that you could lose out. If you're only investing 4,000 or 5,000 quid, that's kind of the sweet spot in it.
It is, because even if it went terribly wrong, you lose £1,000, and then you've had a bike for however long.
Exactly.
All of that for £1,000.
Yeah.
You spend that on an expensive weekend away sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
A nice hotel.
You might do.
Right, the Arland Nest Customs. So just tell us about Arland Nest, this amazing looking thing over here.
Yeah.
So they start with a Harley, and there's not a lot of that Harley left, is there?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's an engine there under that casing somewhere. So yeah, essentially, if you don't know about Arland Nest are based in LA, and it's a company that's been going since the 60s. The gentleman who owns the company, unfortunately, has recently passed, but his son has continued the company, and it was his father who actually built this one, so it was the guy that founded the company that rebuilt it. So somebody at some point has bought a rather nice Harley Davidson and then paid about $55,000.
Well, that's the thing that we need to talk about, isn't it? Because
to make it look
like American Chopper and all the shows on TV that we all love to watch, you'd go there, wouldn't you, with your big wallet, you'd customise it precisely to your specification, as somebody's done here, in with all the rag-rolled paintwork and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then they would charge you an enormous amount of money to do that. And you're going to buy this bike, which is a complete one-off, the only one in the world, for between 8 and 9 grand.
Yeah.
And if you want something a bit different, a bit unique,
well,
that's a great way to do it.
It's definitely unique. People will definitely notice you're turning up. Everything's kind of hidden as well, so you know the indicators are hidden away at the front, and then in the back they're actually built into the mudguard, so everything's kind of ghosted. And if you look into the paintwork, you can actually see like skulls and everything else. So the closer you look.
Yeah, it's incredible work, isn't it? You can see where the money goes.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful thing being a custom that you can buy it for such a small amount of what it cost.
Yeah, that's it.
And as you say, you'll never ever see one the same at a bike show.
No, and also it's not on the bike at the minute because we've put it away just in case it goes walkies, but it's actually got a supercharger with it as well, this one. So we've got a supercharger that was supplied for that bike from Arland, which just needs a bit of a recommission, and it's basically...
Does it need that though? Is it not torquey enough without it?
Bolt it on. Probably torquey enough without it.
Yeah.
However, who doesn't love a supercharger?
That's true, but it makes a crazy noise as well. And also, I would imagine you don't really buy this bike to go faster. You buy it to look good.
Yeah. Look and sound good.
Yeah. Which it does very well. So as I say, 8 to 9 grand would buy you that bike. And moving on to this lovely little 68 BSA.
So this is beautiful, isn't it?
Small but perfectly formed. You're going from the almost the ridiculous to the sublime almost.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a beautiful thing, supplied by a regular customer of ours. It's a really genuine, transparent bike, and arguably one of the nicest bikes in the sale in terms of its restoration. This was actually bought as a 99% restored bike.
Yeah.
As you can see, it is missing some BSA badges, and it needs a little
Could you
bit
get those?
of wiring. Yeah, of course, for about £60.
Yeah.
Like that. A little bit of wiring done just over the weekend. And this can be up and running. So the story with this particular bike is that it was restored, it then went to auction.
Yeah.
The gentleman bought it, stuck it in his collection. He's never used it, he's never ran it, he's never even recommissioned it, and he's now moving it on.
Because the chrome's immaculate, isn't it?
It is, because it's been dry stored in a warm environment, so no elements have gotten to it whatsoever.
No, that's as new. And what sort of time and money? Just a little trim, badges. What does it need to finish in terms?
Just a couple of £100. That's all. That's it.
And we've estimated that 1,500 quid to 2 grand.
Yeah.
So what a lovely little project which needs, like you say, hours, doesn't it, really, to sort?
It needs,
single figure hours. You could get
It needs
that.
single figure hours, but also it would be a labour of love because it's not like there's anything difficult to do.
No.
You know, you could do that concurrently to rebuilding something else.
Yeah.
You know.
Lovely little winter tinker there. Another BSA in a very similar shade. This is a very pretty bike, isn't it? It's a 1968 B25, B40.
Yeah.
Full restoration. When was that done, do we know?
No, we don't know when it's done, unfortunately. The gentleman that's put this in has had this one again for a long time. We're hitting a pattern here, aren't we? For a long, long time.
Well, that's nice because we know where they've been. We know the story, don't we?
We certainly do. And it's not got a 250 engine in it. It's got the 350 BS 40 motor in there, which obviously makes it quite a lot more torquey, a bit more powerful. So it's a different exhaust system on it. You know, it's up to you whether you think it's tasteful or not as a buyer. Obviously, these have been painted in white.
What colour should they be?
Black, yeah. So yeah, it's a bit of a trick bike. It's a bit of a bitzer. However, it's good. It's pretty much all there.
And it's not going to be expensive either, is it? 1,800 to 2.5 grand. We've estimated that at.
But it's cheap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It runs. It works. You know.
And if you're a purist, it wouldn't be beyond the wit of man to have that apart, have that repainted back to factory spec. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, you could strip that in a day.
Yeah.
Easy.
I mean, bikes of this era are so blissfully simple, aren't they? Even I could disassemble this.
Even you could do
Even I could do it. That's how easy they are. That's how easy they are. That's a bit of a bargain potentially, I think, is it, for somebody. And what's great is a project that doesn't need major work, that you can add significant value to, doing very simple and easy things. I like projects like that.
Exactly, and like you said before, it's that cheap that if it bottomed out and you only got your money back,
yeah, you wouldn't complain, would you?
Spend 1,500 quid.
Yeah, what a fun thing to buy. 1964 Triumph, Speed Twin.
Yeah.
Again, long-term stored, older restoration. There is a pattern here, isn't there?
There we go, yeah. And supplied by the same gentleman who supplied the BSA Bantam there. It's come from the same place, bought from the same auction, been stored in the same environment.
Very well, by looks of
things. Been sold under the same circumstances. So yeah, terrific bike, restored beautifully. And this one was actually purchased, restoration complete.
Right.
However,
So this needs nothing, does it?
No, it doesn't need
just
anything.
Just a home and a ride, this one.
It just needs, it needs, there's no oil in it or
Yeah.
anything else. It's never been recommissioned since it was rebuilt. It was bought from auction and put into a collection. So it would need a recommission. Obviously, you know, we always recommend here that even if things have been recommissioned,
Yeah.
you know, go and get it tested
Satisfy
out.
yourself.
Don't ride anything else, anything unless you tested the brakes and what have you. So it would need a full day, but that's it. There's nothing to spend. It's all there and it works.
And it's 4 to 5 grand to buy that, isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely beautiful. And this kind of era of bikes, which I think has a really nice styling with this the Cowland rear end, that is, to me, a lovely era of design for Triumph. Very pretty.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And like we were saying with the GS before, that that is now what a lot of the more modern Triumphs are based on. Looking at the super sports, if you look at the shape of the petrol tanks and everything else. This was something that they phased out, the carrier on the front.
That's pretty quite handy, isn't it, on there?
Yeah, it could be, unless you've got something that's hanging around, which is not going to do your tank any favours. But
get your pack lunch on there, you know, that's good.
Get your butties on there, yeah.
It'll be nice and warm when you get there.
Warm butties.
Right, moving on to the BSA.
Yeah.
Tell me the story about this one, Jimmy, go on.
Okay. So supplied from the same gentleman who supplied the other BSA B25.
You've been very kind to us. It's a 1968 Starfire, this one.
Yeah.
25 years dry stored.
Yes.
And boy, can you tell.
Can you tell? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, this bike's had a lot of interest. It's had quite a few people looking at it.
Very pretty, isn't it? Love the colourway.
It's a lovely bike. Yeah, it is a lovely bike. It's got a plastic tank on there, which has been, they put like a film on the inside of the tank to keep it. However, it stops it from corroding or anything else because it's not metal. So it's hold its own for many, many years to come. The chrome on the bike is really nice.
And was that quite a revolutionary technology at the time? Because I'd imagine most bikes of that period were metal tanks, weren't they?
Well, they were, and they still are. BSA just did it for a bit, and then stopped.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this is clearly an aftermarket piece, and you can see how it sits. It doesn't sit quite right. However, you know, you could always engineer a little piece of metal just to slightly angle it if that's what you wanted to do. But I mean, with this bike, that's my only real sticking point with it. It's priced well, it works. It's a nice bike, and it wouldn't cost very much to bring it back to its former glory.
Yes, that's 3 to 3.5. So again, like you say, not huge amounts of money for a very pretty bike. Is that a rare bike, and there many of those left?
In terms of rarity, it's a British bike, so there are quite a lot knocking around.
Yeah.
However, most of them are Bitsers.
Yeah.
You know, that's not, which is nice. It's got matching engine and frame number, which is good. So yeah, and everything works. The lamp and everything works on there. It's got power, which makes a change. A lot of these old bikes coming in, brakes and everything work. It's good to go. It just needs a little tinker.
Love that. And onto this lovely 1959 AJS. Now that is a very pretty bike. I'm guessing the blue seat piping would not be an original fitment.
No, so that's not an original seat. That's an aftermarket seat entirely. Yeah, like you say, the original one would have either been grey or it would have been black.
Yeah.
So yeah, shocks on the front are not the original shocks either. They're off something else. Not exactly sure what.
They kind of work there, don't they?
They do work. They work nicely, and they are an upgrade because I can tell that they're a slightly later shock. But because AJS don't put codes on everything, I don't know what they're off, if I'm honest. However, this bike has just been serviced. It's got a new battery, and it works just fine. Obviously, tax and MOT exempt. And you know, if you wanted to put it back to standard, there's a few little bits and pieces for the for the purist. However, it's a nice bike. I wouldn't do anything with it. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, I suppose if you wanted to be a real purist, you could do like a more 1950s sympathetic seat, couldn't you? I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 1,500 to 2 grand, which is what we've got it estimated at.
Yeah.
What a lovely bit of inexpensive fun.
It's very inexpensive, and if you did want to put some standard parts back on it, look on major auction sites because they're just everywhere, and the tenner penny, the bits for these machines.
Well, that's good to know. Well, the Triumph Thunderbird Sport, this is back in. We've got to find the time because this is a beautiful bike, this, isn't it? And
it
again,
is, yeah.
Immaculate.
It is. We don't really understand why it's not here. It's reserve. However, we're going to give it another go through.
Yeah.
I personally think that's a tremendous machine. I'm not just saying this because it's in front of me. I've never seen one that looks that good.
Well, it's Concours, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is Concours. So 2000, 23 years old. It looks like it's 23 minutes old.
It just does, yeah.
14,000 miles, obviously on the easiest day ever because you can't see. You can't see where the wear is.
And it says on the write-up that the vendor did stress that it's never seen the rain.
I can believe that.
I can't, yeah.
Just looking at the bright work.
Yeah, usually they say it's never seen the rain and it comes in. Clearly has. I can contently think that this one probably hasn't.
So the Thunderbird Sport, where does that sit sort of in the Triumph canon of greatness, as it were, in terms of the model positioning?
Well, the Thunderbird,
Yeah.
just like the one you were looking at over there,
Yeah.
so you can see how things have come on. I mean, if you look at, when I was saying the more modern motorcycles, if you look at the shape of that tank there, and
Yeah.
then look at that one, it's just a bigger version of the exact same shaped tank. And look at
So you can see the design
where the
language
seat-
and the DNA going through, can't you?
Yeah, basically. And this is a sport model, which is a lot rarer. And it was kind of a point where they started to revolutionise Triumph, where they were in terms of their bikes looking, let's say, aged.
Yeah.
And then if you look at that now, it's kind of a step up. And it was one of the first of its era, really, on that year.
And it really is a very timeless design. If you look at the sort of the modern equivalents of that and what they would cost you, you could buy that bike, which is as new, 38 to 4,200 pounds.
Yeah.
What a thing to own.
Exactly, and that was kind of what I was trying to get across then, what I was alluding to. It is a timeless machine due to the way it was designed. But that rides beautifully. It's got a new battery on it. It's been serviced. It's got an MOT. It rides spectacularly, and you just don't need to do anything. Just love it.
And I guess that era of bike, you've got the best bits of having almost a classic bike because it's 23 years old, but rides like a modern bike.
Exactly, yeah.
Best of both.
Yes, best of both worlds.
And it won't break the bank. Moving on to this, the bike you can ride with no pants on, the Norton Commando.
Exactly, yeah.
This is gorgeous. Now, Norton history is interesting anyway, isn't it? Particularly the resurgence of Norton and how it came back. This is a very pretty bike, isn't it?
Yeah, have you seen the production of the new sports bikes?
Yeah.
Wow, aren't they a fantastic thing?
So Norton, I guess, has always been good news in terms of a bike brand, hasn't it?
Yeah, they're just solid, aren't they? If you look at a lot of other, without slating other British bike manufacturers, if you just look at the brakes on for example, the Triumph that we just looked on, and then look at the brakes and the suspension setup on that, given that it's remotely the same genre of bike, you can just see the detail and the expense.
Yeah, I was saying
that Norton
expense.
spend.
That's a lot of money for a set of Ohlins, isn't it?
Well, a new one of these is 18 grand starting price.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you'd buy this for 7 to 7.5. So,
Yeah.
And this is very nice. This has done 20,000 miles.
Yeah.
Nice scratch-free tank on this as well. Yeah. 4 months MOT left on it. And you've ridden this. This rides as new, you say, don't you?
It does. It rides fantastic. Yeah. If you look on the website, you see a video of me riding it. Everything's pretty much original. Nothing has yet been changed. It's
really
got
clean bike, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It looks like it's got a new chain on there. I think that's the original sprocket and drive sprocket, but they're in really, really good condition. It's got good tyres on it. Nice carbon mudguard on the front.
Is that factory standard? Would that be fitted from the factory?
Yeah, but it's an optional upgrade, so someone's paid extra for that.
Quite a lot extra, one imagines.
Probably, yeah, probably. It'd be a couple of £100 at least. And then just looking at the tank, where you look for normal wear and tear on the bike, it's pretty much solid. There's no real marks anywhere. There's nothing's being hidden, and it's just inherently in a really, really good state. 20,000 miles on the clock, so if you know about Norton engines and stuff, they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
They're all quality, so it's got a good service history and stuff with it. So yeah, it's a nice, solid, transparent bike.
Well, it's time to get sporty.
Let's get sporty.
Let's get sporty. Moving across to this. Now, as we know, guys, I know very little about bikes. I can appreciate the aesthetic of a bike, and this, aesthetically, this is, I'm home. This is very much.
This is what it's about, isn't it?
I would love to own this bike just purely to look at it, because I love this era, 1990, this kind of fully fared, I think, utterly beautiful and very futuristic almost, isn't it, the styling of this?
It is.
Talk me through this bike, because this is 25 years dried stored. It looks like we've gone back in a time capsule to 1990, and we're sitting in the showroom looking at it. It wouldn't be any different, would it?
No, it's just superb. It's got a few age-related marks, but they're supposed to be there. The thing's nearly 30 years old.
Yeah.
So the current owner has had it in a collection for 25 years.
Yeah.
Never started, not been used
Really?
in 25 years.
That's crazy.
And then it's gone to a good friend of the business who has recommissioned it.
Yeah.
And was really excited, sent me a video going, yes, because he fired it up and the motor turned for the first time in 25 years. So he was absolutely buzzing. So yeah, this has just been recommissioned. It's got a new battery on it.
But tell me about Bimotor, because obviously I know we sell a lot of our bikes in our auctions. We have our dedicated bike people who know as much as you do.
Okay.
But then we've got people like me who just can admire and getting into bikes for the first time. Where does this sort of sit in the pantheon of greatness of bike manufacturers?
Okay.
What did Bimotor do? What was their USP? What brought them into the market?
Okay, so generically, Bimotor was a little bit of a bits of company.
Yeah.
Okay. And they predominantly used Yamaha.
Which is no bad thing.
No, and some Kawasaki parts. which they then re-engineered
Yeah.
to make their own machines. And what happened is, in the late 80s, early 90s, bi-motor with bikes very much like this became very competitive in Japanese Grand Prix racing.
Oh, okay.
So Yamaha decided that they wasn't going to sell them any more engines.
Fun enough.
Okay, so then bi-motor went quiet for quite a few years and went away to develop their own engines, and came back and hit the market with what they called the bi-motor VG, which actually was a pretty good road going bike. They did a special edition carbon fibre collectible bike, and they're actually worth a lot of money, as some of you guys probably know. However, it wasn't successful. They lost millions of pounds, and then that was the end, unfortunately.
That was the end of that. So a bit of biking history. I love the details. Look at things like this headstock here, look, where you actually see the CNC machine marks. Obviously, I'm guessing they're making them in relatively low quantity, and the fact they've left those witness marks in, I just think is really cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how the choke goes through the stem as well.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's a cool little feature, isn't it?
Immense details on that. That's 10 to 12 grand. I can't imagine many of these come up in that condition for sale, do they?
No, they don't. No, they just don't. I've looked on the market, and for these that run in this condition, they're selling from anything from around 14 to around £17,000.
And we've estimated at 10 to 12. Somebody could be grabbing a
yeah,
bargain.
so we've got a low reserve. I think we'll get a lot of people interested in this bike. And it's just a beautiful thing, isn't it? The paintwork and stuff, I think.
I love the colours.
When you look at the shading on that,
yeah, it's just immense.
Paint.
It's just of its time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
it really is of its time.
It's beautiful. For me, as far as sports bikes are concerned, that look is that's where it's at for me.
Yeah, I am the same.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you know what you're talking about. I don't, but I could just sit and look at that for hours.
You know a bit.
I'm learning more as we go. But I'm here as the eyes and ears of the viewers. You're the bike expert. I'm here for the people that I quite like to own a bike, but don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm here to ask those questions.
Yeah.
You see.
Glad you pretend to be the expert.
You know everything.
I do a
mate.
good job.
So the Honda CBR, that's very pretty.
Yeah.
But obviously this one isn't immaculate. I can see just a few little marks and things. This is a bike that's been used and enjoyed, isn't it?
It has, yeah. It's got some marks on it. You can see that it's done some miles. What have we got on the clock there?
46,000, mate.
46,000 miles. So I think at 46,000 miles for it to have survived,
Yeah.
it's definitely had an engine rebuild at some point. It's a little bit untidy, but mechanically it's great. It literally starts on the button.
Yeah.
It sounds fantastic. It runs nice. I've rode it, and it's just a lovely little bike.
But we should wave a flag for bikes like this because we've looked at so many collector quality, museum quality bikes, literally museum quality bikes.
Yeah.
And the problem with stuff like that is, let's be honest, you're not going to ride it. You're going to put it at home. You might start it now and then.
Yeah.
Show your mates.
Show it
how
off
good
to your mates.
Yeah, you're never going to use it, are you? Stuff like this.
No.
You get, I mean, it's already careworn and kind of
Yeah.
and pre-loved. Just get out and have some fun with it.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but and also at the end of the day, it's all about waving the flag for bikes like this. The only reason it doesn't look like those is because someone hasn't put the money into it yet.
Yeah.
But it's
You could add
still
that
here.
value.
I mean, if this bike is still here at this age in that condition,
Yeah.
somebody at some point is going to do something with this bike and it's going to look like that.
That's very true.
Do you know what I mean?
But also, or just have fun with it as it is for 2.5 to 3 grand, and just have an absolute joy out
Well,
of
of
it.
course, yeah. I mean, it sounds better than it looks.
And also hilarious rev counter on this. So.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want a £2 bike that screams at 18,000 revs?
If you want a bit of fun, there you go. Just wind that up.
Lovely
Imagine
little
that would sound like an F1 car at full tilt, I'd imagine.
Probably, yeah. Put a nice exhaust system on it. Sound great.
That is very cool. I like that. Like I say, so that would be 2.5 to 3 grand. You could have that. That
Yeah.
could be yours come
Yeah.
Saturday. And don't forget, guys, you see the phone calls are coming in already. Here we are. Look, it's now 5 o'clock at night. People are still ringing in for these bikes. That's how hot it is.
Phone lines are hot.
Because don't forget, you could buy a bike on Saturday and take a free Harley home as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're lucky
Two
enough.
for the price of one, literally.
Lucky enough.
Right, 1989 Honda CBR 600F winter project. Who doesn't love a winter project?
Exactly.
What's to do on this, Jimmy? Come on.
Well, we got this in because the jelly mould late 90s
Yeah.
Hondas are very, very popular. Now, this was the start. This was kind of the Mark 1 of the 400Fs.
Yeah.
Which
Pretty
run-
bright.
which
Fully
funnily enough
fared
runs
again.
straight to that one now, which is 10 years later. It's slightly different shape, but you know, generically it's the same. And for whatever reason, they call them the jelly molds, and people absolutely love restoring these because it costs buttons to do. They're easy to work on.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. You know, there's still a 400cc motor, so there's a fair bit of capacity there. And yeah, I mean, It needs a full. If you ask me, it needs a full nut and bolt strip.
So it wants to come
bring it out.
apart. Obviously, there's some paint work to do. There's a wee bit of trim to do.
Yeah.
But everything's there, isn't it? You've got what you need.
Yeah, but it runs. It's,
Yeah.
it's got an MOT.
Wow.
It runs, so it works. And you could just buy it and run it
Or,
for next to nothing.
I was going to say, just run it as it is.
You could just run it as it is, or, you know, it's perfect if you've got a man cave or a she shed and you just want to sit there over the winter and do something relatively cheap. This is perfect.
We're talking 500 quid to £1,000. This is the crazy thing about this bike. You could buy this bike and you might get it for, I don't know, £1,000, and then get into to draw and win a Harley. Get 2 bikes for £1,000. This could happen. This could be you.
Or 500.
I know. Who knows? But that to me just wants buying, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, it just needs some love.
Yeah, that just
It needs some love.
I might even stick my hand up for that. You know.
Yeah.
Can you help me find the bits?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, most of the bits are there.
Yeah.
It's doing.
So 12 months MOT, that's the crazy thing. So you're a tiny bit scruffy, but
Yeah.
12 months MOT. I'd ride it for a year before I restored it.
Yeah, well, it all works.
Have some fun with it.
Yeah.
God, you just wouldn't care, would you, with a 500 quid bike? Just have all the fun
You
in
could
the
just
world.
send it round track as it
Oh,
is.
exactly, yeah. Just a full send on a 500 quid bike.
Yeah.
Right, on to the next absolutely lovely thing. 2001
Yeah.
Aprilia
There's a
RSV, Milliard, 1000cc.
Yeah. This sounds like nitroglycerin going off in hell.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
And look at the detailing on things like the levers, aren't they beautiful?
Yeah. Carbon fibre front end.
Yeah.
Carbon fibre airbox. This actually is supplied. It's got the pillion cover on it. However, it does come with the original seat as well.
It looks better like that, though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Nice aftermarket system on it. The wheels and everything else. I'm not too sure whether they've been recently powder coated or previously powder coated, but they're in the original colour anyway.
Yeah.
So I'd take that as a plus. It's got some nice aftermarket brake lines on it.
Some service history, but not full service history with this bike.
Yeah, it comes with a lot of precedence though. It's got a folder full of information. So there's a lot of receipts, previous MOTs, work done, evidence of service.
And it certainly looks like a bike that's had some love, doesn't it? It looks like it's been looked after to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's 22 years old, so it's going to have some marks, but you wouldn't say that it was overly, you know, patinaed.
No.
It's just got a few marks on there, and it's for its year and for the reserve that it's at, it's a really good example.
Well, 2.5 to 3 grand.
And I'm pretty sure someone's definitely going to buy that and enjoy it.
That's a lot of bike. I say so much carbon. It's really, really pretty.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Original carbon as well.
Yeah, could I have a look at that, Elliot? It's really nice. Yeah. I think that is a handsome machine.
Yeah.
Right, a nice little, gorgeous two-stroke here. 1990 Yamaha RD 350. Why are these so much fun, Jimmy? Why would it add one of these to the collection?
Yes. So this one is a power valve.
Yeah.
So this was the second generation. Before this, you had the RD 400s and RD 250s, which had a coffin tank on it, like that one. And then came along with this, which they called the YPVS power valve, which is Yamaha power valve system. So it's a 350 90-degree V-twin engine, which sounds great and smells great as well. This one is a cat, unfortunately. At some point in its life, it had a bit of an accident, but someone shelled out the money to restore it to the stage it's at now. I'm not too sure whether it is or it isn't, but they did a 31st anniversary edition of this bike, and they called it the 31K. Now the 31K is the collectible one, and it comes in a satin grey frame. Now this bike has got a satin grey frame, and I've looked really hard, and it appears that none of the number boards, plates or anything have been removed, and I can't see any evidence of aftermarket paint. So I think it might be a 31K, but I'm not 100% sure.
So bid it accordingly.
If it is,
it could be a bargain
the restoration,
yeah.
But we'll leave that up to the eyes of the buyers.
Yeah.
Because the seller is none the wiser and doesn't really know if it is a 31K.
And we don't like to say things that we don't know.
We're a bit on the fence about it. But why don't you come down and tell us?
Yeah, if you know
about it, come and have a look.
Please do. And also very low recorded mileage. Apparently 13,000. It's showing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but it's because it's been a cat.
Yeah.
It's had work done. The vendor has told us that is a different clock.
Right.
That's gone on the
so
bike.
It could be higher than that.
So it could be lower, but at the end of the day, with a bike like this and a reserve so low, if that was an immaculate bike and it wasn't a cat, that's worth about £8,000 to £8,500.
And we've only got this at 4,250 to 4,750. So
if you were to buy it, put a bit of love into it,
Money to be made, fun to be had.
Yeah.
Definitely. And this is very beautiful, this Ducati 1994 750 SS.
Yeah.
22,000 miles, again,
Yep.
long-term dry store, 12 months MOT, brand new battery on it,
Yep.
freshly serviced with cam belts as well,
Yep.
and a decent service history, loads of MOTs, loads of receipts. So you say the motor runs really well, but you think it needs a bit of carb cleaning.
Well, that's it. We've had this bike, the owner of this bike is quite specific about his machines.
Yeah.
It's come from a collector. So he put this and the 916 SPS in, and after talking about it for a few days, he came in, had the bikes collected,
Yeah.
had this bike collected, new battery, full service, including cam belts, which is about 700 quid.
Wow.
And also they stripped the top end of the bike down and discovered that there's a bit of foul in there. It could do with a clean, so it would be recommended. However, if you don't want to, then
Yeah, but again, not an expensive bike, is it? That? So we're saying that's estimated at 2 to 3 grand,
Yeah.
and it's just had a 700 quid service.
yes,
That's what I call value.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some nice BOS aftermarket exhausts as well, and with it being a piped V-twin, it does sound like an absolute beast. And just look at it generically as well. It is in lovely condition. for
It
its
really
year.
is, isn't it?
And it's very cheap. It's extremely cheap, so I think we'll get quite a few people bidding on this.
I think so. That seems like good value to me. Then moving on to the 1995 Honda CBR 600 F3.
Yes.
Again, the jelly mould.
Yeah, exactly. Another jelly mould. So this is a roughly 10-year later version to what we were looking at before. And the dead giveaway is the air intakes and the design on the rear seat cowl there.
Gorgeous bike, isn't it?
That very supercar-esque. It is a lovely bike. It's in good condition generally throughout. What's the mileage on this one?
So this one has done 41,000.
41,000.
Doesn't look it, but it has done it.
Yeah, I mean, it starts, it runs, it sounds nice. It's not lumpy. I don't know if it's had any restoration or recommissioning to the engine. However, like I say, it does run. And it's also just had an MOT, so it comes to 12 months MOT.
There you go. So everything you can want, 4-stroke, fresh MOT, everything you want. And again, value-wise, incredible value, 1,500 quid to 2 grand.
Yeah.
Obviously, you pay your 15% on top.
Yeah.
But what a thing to own for like not a lot of cash.
Yeah, again, it's pretty much there. If you wanted to tinker it with it over the winter, you could do, but you're looking at sub 2,000 quid
Yeah.
for that bike all in. So yeah.
And our last bike upstairs before we have our 2-star lots at the end, which you're going to love, by the way. So this 1986 Suzuki GF250, again, private collection bike.
Yeah.
What a stunner, what a colour,
So
and what condition.
So it's stunning.
Nut and bolt job this, isn't it? Full
is
nut and bolt.
Full nut and bolt, immaculate. Again, been in a museum,
Yeah.
like the other three that we spoke about. And in all my years of motorcycling, I've never seen one before. So are they very prolific? No. Are they very rare? Extremely. You just don't see them. And they definitely don't look like this one.
No, crazy styling as well, isn't it? Really nice styling on this as well.
Yeah. Low mileage, just been serviced, new battery. Again, the full works, nut and bolt, everything's new. You know, motor runs perfectly. There's nothing you need to do to this.
And I guess geometry-wise and the way it is and the size of it, probably quite a nice bike if you're new into it, novice rider, something that's not too hard to get your head around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, everything's accessible, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you need to do anything, the only thing you can't see is the battery, and that's just under the seat.
And it's got a new battery on it.
And it's got a new battery, so you definitely won't need to do that.
So 3 to 3.5 grand will buy you that, and we've got 2 more left to show you, and you're going to love them. So another bi-motor. Now this is giving me concept bike vibes. This looks like a film prop to me, this one. With the dashboard, the colour, the fairing design. This is stunning. As you know, I know very little about bikes, but I do know I would like to own this somewhere just in the house as something to enjoy.
How nice are the lines on it?
Incredible.
It's cool, isn't it? Let's just look at that paint as well. Don't know if Elliot can pick that up there.
Very deep metal flake, isn't it?
So this one, unsurprisingly, has come from the same collector as the YB4. So this one is a YB9.
Is this a rare bike? Because I've never
Yes.
seen this bike in my life. I'm not a huge bike knowledge, but what are they? This looks like, as I say, it looks like, do you remember, you're probably too young to remember Automan.
Automan,
Yeah.
perhaps. Yeah.
People of a certain age will remember it.
think
This
I
looks
was-
like something out of Automan. This looks like an incredible looking bike.
Yeah, I think I was still dead, Dan.
You weren't alive yet, though, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's come from the same collector. Again, not started for 25 years.
Yeah.
Just had a recommission, and now runs. However, like the last bike, the carbs are a little bit muggy.
Yeah.
However, we were pressed for time to get it in. So the gentleman who actually did the recommission on this bike has offered some extremely good rates that if someone should wish to have the carbs done on it.
Yeah.
He'll do a really good job on that. I've got a feeling though that this probably won't get ridden because this is just too nice.
Yeah.
And you just don't see them like the YB4. They're nowhere to be seen. Most of these now are in
Collections.
pieces. Well, they're in collections or in pieces, to be quite honest with you. And this is lovely. The paint and everything. I mean, if I looked at that initially and someone said that this bike is 12 months old,
I'll believe them.
initially, I wouldn't question it.
And what would one pay for something like that? Because to me, this feels like a little bit of bike design history.
It is. So these sell for anything from around 9 to about 12 to 14. It's very hard to value because they're not out there.
But there's nothing to reference it against, is there?
And the things I have found to reference it against are things that were sale in mainland Europe and a couple of things that's moved from my contacts in the UK. But this one has come in with a estimate of 5.5 to 6.5 on it. So
someone's getting a bargain.
Can potentially get a bargain, or we're going to get quite a few people on the hook on this one.
Well, I think we've had a few phone calls on this already.
We have had a few phone calls on this already, and it's only been on the web for a couple of days. Doesn't surprise me because it's really rare. I hadn't seen one before.
Yeah, and as we always say here, find me another.
Yeah, find me another.
And finally, last but not least, past this beautiful E-Type we go, to this, another star lot, this gorgeous Ducati that somebody can own. And don't forget, I'll reiterate it for the last time, you buy a bike from the sale on Saturday, you get entered into our draw. The only other people in the draw are the other people that have either consigned a lot or bought a lot. So you're in basically a pot of about 350 people.
The odds are good.
1 in 350 chance, which is very low in lottery terms, isn't it, of winning a very nice Harley Davidson.
Yeah, and some people may have put a few vehicles in as well, so...
Actually, yeah, could be less, could be about 1 in 300, couldn't it?
Yeah. All I have to say about this bike is what more do you want than the most iconic designed bike ever in the best CC, the 916. This one is an SPS, so it's fully kitted out. This one is number 1052 of 1700. It comes with the original Termagonis supplied from the manufacturer with the chip, and it was imported by Fastline Superbikes quite a few years ago. And if you know who they are, they're based up north in Preston, and they only deal in real quality stuff. So I knew once, as soon as I'd viewed this bike, that this bike was a special bike. And because it's been in a collection for about 4 years, if you don't know, the thing with the timing belts and service on these, it's not about miles served, it's just about time.
Because the rubber deteriorates.
Because the rubber deteriorates. So because it's been over 2 years, the gentleman's had this picked up. It's had a £700 belts, service, MOT, you name it, to come out of his collection. Proper vendor. And it's sat here right now, and it's stunning. And someone is hopefully going to be owning this on Saturday.
So there you go. So tuck it away till the salt's gone and then have some fun with it next year.
100%.
And what would you pay for that, Jimmy?
So it's worth about £25,000. It's in at just under 20. So we will see what happens on the day.
There you go. So bid with confidence, because that's a beautiful bike and she's ready to go. So if you've seen anything you like, don't forget we've still got some viewing days. If you've been sensible and you've liked and subscribed and you've rung that bell, we've still got some viewing days. Are open Thursday 10 till 4, Friday 10 till 4, and the doors open at 9 on Saturday and the auction starts at 10. Everything happens online at manorparkclassics.com, or go onto our YouTube channel. But most importantly of all, make sure you've registered to bid if you want to bid online. But even better, come and see us.
Come and see us.
Yeah, see you on Saturday morning. Fun starts at 10.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.